Hey guys, it's Classic. Welcome to this week's episode of Casual Talks, where I get on the pitch with your favorite people in the Rocket League community to find more about them. This week's episode features an iconic caster, Shogun. We'll start slow. It's simply like, when did you start playing Rocket League? If I'm not mistaken, you played SARP, right?
Yes, I'm a SARP BC boy. Started Rocket League as soon as it came out. And then, by the time that I started playing it, my computer was next to nothing, really. I didn't even really have a proper graphics card for it. So I barely played when the first thing came out. And instead waited to get a better thing. But we spent a long time waiting for Rocket League to come out because we had all that stuff saying when SARP BC 2 going to come out, and then when it did come out and we saw how well they were actually treating it and how they were actually advertising this one. It's incredible how that worked. When we had this come out and people were like going mental for it because they had the free weekend on PSN, we're just like, oh, okay. Yeah. So our little game is no longer a little game. It is up there with the big boys now. It was during that sort of period that I was just like, okay, I'm probably gonna have to figure out what I want to do with this game. Because back in SARP BC, I was not one of the top players, but I was on that tier just below the top players. Came over to Rocket League, sort of realized, oh god, there are a lot of players coming into this. I can barely maintain any sort of level at SARP. What chance do I have with all of these hundreds of thousands of new people coming in?
From the get-go with Rocket League, you try to get into content creation.
Yeah, do you know how hard it is to make videos with no graphics card?
I can imagine, yes.
Yes, it wasn't very high quality.
Yeah, I can imagine how hard it is. After you got a better PC, did that, like, how long did that take? And did that change anything towards, like, your goal with, you know, where you wanted to go with Rocket League?
So, I didn't get a PC, a better one anyway, until, let's see, I got a graphics card outside of that for about £150 from one of the, at the time, SARP BC guys. One of the viewers, Adred. Okay. He's gone on to do some pretty decent stuff for himself. He's one of the... I can't remember what game it is, but he plays really well. It was a really obscure game.
Okay.
As many of them tend to these days. I went, like, semi-pro for about a week.
Okay.
An established Killer Moose Horde with Dex9, who used to play for Team Rocket US, okay, and EU Rizzo.
EU Rizzo, what?
There was a European Rizzo.
What?
And our claim to fame was we beat SK, and that was about it. We did nothing else with our careers.
So Cloud Fuel came to you for casting. Did you have like any previous casting experience, or did he just see like that you would try to make content and was like, you know?
I had attempted it once as part of my content creation. I did a series on League of Legends.
Oh, I saw that. I saw that.
It was Ultimate Annihilation. Yeah, it was a 1v1 series, and it was atrocious. But you can sort of, like, for people that have watched my streams, sort of know that I like the arcadey sort of look.
Yeah, yeah, obviously.
And you can kind of see, like, that's been around for a while, me wanting that sort of look.
Okay.
So, that series, it was bad, but you have to be bad at stuff.
Was it a discussion with Desiree? Or, like, something similar? And you were, like, guys, like, if anyone that wants to get into casting... Like, look how bad I was initially, and I turned out okay. So, like, just fucking do it. Or something, like, very similar along those lines.
Trust me, I've seen battle cards and Rocket League players. No one wants to have to do with the grind. No one realizes that if you want to get to the top level, you're going to have to get your ass handed to you quite a bit.
So, Cloud Fuel got to you to cast because he saw that you wanted to, like, that you tried on YouTube, right?
Yes. I made it very aware that I did not want to be a pro.
Okay.
Like, I was barely even decent at SARP. What chance did I have against the new wave of people coming in? Yeah, it was more a case of what do I want to do. At the time, I didn't really care if it was going to be streaming, if it was going to YouTube, or if it was going to be casting. I didn't really care which of those it was that worked out.
This is Rocket League.
So, all right, I want to go into that very quickly.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because as nice as that call is...
Yeah.
It's doing my head in already.
Really?
Because every single game, like, I enjoy it. It's very nice to have a good legacy for this game. But every bloody game, like, it's either this is Rocket League or it's what's an analyst.
Yeah. So You did not like, because you pretty much said that in the fire of the moment, right? You did not expect it to be.
The
one thing everyone keeps.
I actually didn't even think anything of it at the time. I was more focused on making sure the final call was correct.
Yeah.
Which actually, now that I think about it, listening to the commentary I was doing for that, if Justin didn't score that goal, that might have been the worst end to a final ever when it comes to commentary. Because it's just me saying the word there about 20 different times.
Oh my god. Yeah.
But Justin saved my ass on that and gave me a second attempt.
I mean, he only did it for you, he told me.
Yeah,
like,
he
I
did.
didn't want Shogun to look like a fool.
Oh, I don't need help with that, but...
It's almost impossible to not make any, like, mistakes or stuff like that, because it happens so fast.
It's ridiculously fast-paced.
Exactly. Like, Rocket League is a hard game to cast.
The way I would describe it to people is you don't have time to think. Whatever you are about to think is already coming out of your mouth. You know?
Yeah, there's no
time to filter it. There's no time to think about it. You just go, okay, this is what we're saying now. Oh, that was stupid, but oh well. I've had a couple, like, it's weird, especially when you come as an analyst and you say things, it's just like, people will turn around and just go, oh, it's not like that, it's like this. I'm just like, thanks, Platinum 2. Everyone else that's Platinum 2 out there, you are bad at Rocket League. I'm sorry.
Does rank actually matter for casters, like either play-by-play or color, or you can make the distinction if you want? But I'd like to know your thoughts on that.
So I've actually found it being useful, me sort of knowing more because pro Rocket League and casual Rocket League are two completely different things, especially skill level and what they're trying to achieve. Like for me, even at Grand Champ, I could just throw a ball from halfway and it might actually go in.
Yeah, there's a difference between Grand Champ, like, rank and actual, you know, RLCS.
Oh, yes.
Like, huge.
Like, rank X, or rank S, actually both. Like, that's a stupid level that these guys are playing at. So I prefer a commentator and a caster to know more about that than knowing about Rocket League, like, being a high rank themselves.
Okay.
Now,
so you think knowledge is better than actual experience?
I definitely feel like knowledge is more. I mean, would you, as me, a caster, prefer me to say, okay, you know, that is knowing the players more than I know the game, just saying that is a trademark of this player, we see this all the time, and now the viewer is going to be looking out for that? Or would you like me to just sit there and explain to you why it went in?
I mean, you want my opinion, or is that like,
yes?
That's, I mean, I'd rather.
We might have a differing opinion on this.
I mean, I'm all about like, because for me, like, esports and all that jazz, it's entertainment first of all, and it's creating storylines. So for me, it would be knowing what players usually go for to try to create those storylines, and like you said, make viewers aware of like what they want to see. And that's my opinion on it. Like, I'd rather have that.
I definitely feel like it has changed over the past year or so, where now that, especially now that we have this new rule in where teams have to maintain a fairly decent portion of their roster,
2 out of 3.
where now we can start saying, okay, well, this team does this.
Yeah.
This is where they went wrong last time. Evil Genius is being a good example. They're not the most flashy team ever. They're very scrappy. And now that we're getting things like Slock does a phenomenal job with this stuff, but now that we have stats in just saying, okay, well, how many demos are these guys getting? Are we actually correct with this stuff? How scrappy are they? Are they going for more demos against this team than they are against any other? And why would that be? Storyline simple next season. Who beats Dignitas? 2 years straight, they're not going to move rosters. Everyone is moving around them.
Yeah.
Like, they literally have a gravitational pull. Everyone revolves around them.
Do you think it's surprising that there's like barely any coaches now in teams compared to like League of Legends and other stuff like that, where almost every single team has a coach?
I think it's down to how little effect a coach really has.
You think
also
it doesn't
very
have...
few teams. I mean, if we're comparing it to sport as well, every single sport has a moment where everyone realizes, oh my god, we need one of those.
Yeah.
Because if you hire a coach, that's money. You've got to spend money.
Yep.
And no one in Rocket League has proven just yet that, okay, a coach is necessary. But also at the same time, what use do you have for one? They're not allowed to stand behind the players. If they were allowed
Why
to stand
not?
behind the players,
Do you know why not?
I have no idea at all. But let's just
Okay.
say Vitality
Yeah.
goes into next RCS and they've got Gregan behind them and they play really well.
Yeah.
And a lot of orgs look at it and just say, oh, wow, they had a coach behind them and they play really well. That might be the reason why. So let's hire a coach.
How useful do you think coaches and managers are? Like, personally. Not if it's viable or not with the money inside, but like, do you think it's actually valuable to teams to a certain extent?
I think they are valuable, but they need to be done correctly.
Okay, and how would what is correctly?
Ah, okay, so I get to use my sports coaching degree now. Awesome.
Oh, you have a sports coaching degree?
Yes, I do.
Oh my god. Okay, we'll come back on that later. We'll come back on that.
Very much, you don't need to teach these guys how to play Rocket League.
Of course.
You just need to teach them good, like, this is the reason why I like Gregan, because he tries to teach his teams good life stuff.
And
so that they can play Rocket League for longer. I think there's a big space for statistical and video analysis to come through. Sort of just pinpointing everything, saying, okay, you made this mistake once. Not a problem. But here's the things that you are doing that is a problem. Here's the things that are causing you to get into the position to make that mistake. Because that's what a lot of people do wrong right now, is they say don't do this, but they don't explain how that even came up.
Okay, yeah. Saying don't whiff the ball doesn't help anyone.
Yeah,
obviously everyone knows that.
Were you in a bad position? Like, why weren't you facing directly onto the ball rather than trying to come in on it sideways? Like, that's a rotational thing that now suddenly a coach could start pointing out.
Okay, so for you it would be rather guiding players to train the correct things.
My entire approach would be guide players to correct specific things and also keeping them as professionals.
Did you ever try to get into a coaching sort of managerial like position in Rocket League?
No, but it's something I could potentially do. Like, I've got it in my back pocket of, okay, casting's over. Does a team want me?
I want to know both you, like, it can be two moments. Both one as a caster and another one as a fan. Which are your two favorite Rocket League esports moment?
Okay. Ooh, interesting. I would say favorite moment would have to be Landon, easily. I've spent, ever since they announced it, I was just like, sort of bigging it up, saying this is going to be the greatest crowd you've ever heard.
It was.
Had my mum. Yeah, I had my mum there, had my dad there, just sort of showing them, okay, you know, this is what I'm doing now. You know, I'm doing all right for myself. This is not just some weird video game thing that's happening. Yeah, I've got... Because it is definitely a weird dynamic to get used to.
Of course.
You know, some parts of my family are more used to it because they've sort of seen the grind that I've gone through. But others took a little bit more convincing about, okay, here's what it is. But once everyone saw the crowd, I would say, and definitely the setup, they got very excited for the whole thing. But definitely that finals.
It's impossible to ignore at that point.
Yeah. I would definitely say, though, as like my favorite moment as a caster, just casting that grand final was something else, and I personally don't think it's going to be topped. I mean, I saw a thread on the Reddit the day after just going, oh, I think Shogun and Carpet have been underappreciated for what they did. I was just like, no, that's what we want. If we're not being noticed, if we're just adding to the moment,
it's organic,
if we're just a couple of mates that are in your room, you know, saying how awesome this is, like we're all just sat on the couch and just watching, that's perfect. That's exactly what we want to be.
Great.
As a fan, I would actually say Season 2.
Oh, okay. Which, like...
Season 2 was when I'd just come in, and we were in Amsterdam. And obviously, this is a new tradition that's been set up ever since, is that if you are not casting the finals, you are in the crowd riling them up.
That's a fantastic
And
tradition.
it's something that we have stuck to ever since.
That is fantastic.
We got over there. That was the first time they had the subpar boys around.
That was great.
And we just went mental for the Flipside versus Mocket finals. And that was the moment I was just like, okay, if we do have a final, we need subpower around. We need a community that can start these chants and get everyone going.
Yeah,
and
kind of leaders, right?
Yeah, that was sort of like the alpha version of what we saw in Season 5. But that was definitely the moment I realized, oh god, this is actually real. So as a fan and as a final that was, I mean, that was when we had at the time, that ridiculous overtime between Flipside and Mock It, which lasts like 7 minutes straight, which is ridiculous at the time. So I actually want to like share one thing before we sign off, which is I petrified myself actually.
What?
On the Sunday that was the final for season 5. I knew I was supposed to do the final, but I'd also been in the crowds the day before. And I woke up and I just was like, okay, how's my voice? Hello. Oh shit! Oh god, no!
Oh, that's actually something people don't think about. But when you cast for long, like your voice is kind of fragile.
Oh no, I was just an idiot. I just went to the crowd for the day before.
Yeah, I know, but you didn't think about it, like the day
my
before,
my
right?
voice typically doesn't go. Like that's the reason why I'm often brought on for things like DreamHack.
Okay.
Because I sort of have an iron voice in terms of I can just talk forever, and because I use the diaphragm a lot, it just won't die.
Okay.
I'll just keep it, but because I was in the crowd screaming using my throat, it's like, oh no, I'm feeling it today. Please no, I have every day for me to lose my voice for the first time. So that was a lot of voice care all day. I was even in the like sat in the green room for the finals, just going, I'm not talking all day. I refuse.
Oh well, that was fantastic, Shogun. Thank you so much for doing this.
Not a problem, Milado.